Hi, how you doing? How is your English going, your English studies? What are you doing at the moment to improve your English? Are you watching films and TV series in English? Are you doing grammar exercises and vocabulary exercises to expand your vocabulary? Maybe you're using an app on your mobile phone like Duolingo or Memrise to practice English. Are you watching YouTube channels? Are you watching films and TV series in original version? Are you listening to podcasts to improve your listening? Or are you watching live streams on Facebook or on YouTube? Whatever you're doing, all of that is great. It's fantastic. Even if you're only doing one of those things every single day, you'll be improving your English. But what about your speaking? What are you doing to improve your spoken English, your fluency and your pronunciation in English? Are you doing anything? Above all, how are you learning to interact better in English? How are you improving your communication skills? I've been teaching for over 25 years now, and the one thing that students constantly tell me is that they need to improve their speaking. They need to practice communication. And that's why you're learning English in the first place, right? You want to communicate in English. But sometimes that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Now, be honest, are you practicing your speaking at the moment on a regular basis? And if not, why not? Well, some students tell me that they can't practice because there's nobody in their area. They don't know anyone who speaks English, and they have no one to practice with. And they don't know where to go online on the internet to find a speaking partner. Some students tell me that they feel a bit shy, a bit nervous when they have to speak English. And look, that's completely normal. I feel shy and nervous sometimes when I meet new people in English, in my language. It's an uncomfortable situation sometimes when you need to communicate to people you don't know. And if you're doing it in a different language, it's even more difficult. So I completely understand. And perhaps you're not speaking because you're afraid of making mistakes, and you don't want to speak unless you can speak without mistakes. But mistakes are your friend. Mistakes will help you learn, and you need to make mistakes in order to improve and progress. And what actually happens if you do make a mistake? Nothing bad happens, right? It's not the zombie apocalypse suddenly and the end of the world, and no one's going to come and punch you in the face if you make a mistake in English. In fact, a lot of native speakers make mistakes. I hear native speakers of English making mistakes every day, more or less, on the news, on the television, on podcasts, among my family and friends. So mistakes are completely normal and actually quite natural. And you should be experimenting with the language you're learning. You should be trying new things and practicing different grammar structures and vocabulary and introducing new words as you speak. It's the practice that will help you to improve. So practice, practice, and practice some more. Another thing I sometimes hear is my English sounds bad. I have bad pronunciation. Now, in my opinion, that's only a problem if it affects the communication. If your pronunciation of individual sounds or word stress is to the extent that the person who's listening can't understand what you mean, what you're saying, then that becomes a problem that we need to fix. But almost all people who speak English as a second language have an accent, even a small one. So don't stress and don't worry too much about your pronunciation. You just need to get your pronunciation to a level that does not affect or interfere with good communication. Are you translating in your head from your native tongue into English, from your language to English? Translating in real time before you speak? That's something that with lots of practice, you'll minimize that down to the point where you're thinking in English. And the way to get there, again, is through constant practice. Maybe you've noticed that it's a lot easier to write in English than to speak. Well, why is that? Well, when you're writing, you have more time to think of the grammar, to construct sentences, to search for vocabulary in your brain, and then to write it down. But when you're speaking, it's instantaneous, isn't it? You're having a conversation and it's now. You don't have that thinking time to process the language. So speaking is more difficult than writing, and that's why it's important to practice a lot. So in conclusion, being fluent in English doesn't just happen. It's a process, it's a journey, and you will get there with constant practice. In the next video, I'll tell you about some problems I had when I first started learning Spanish and how I overcame those problems and solved them to become a fluent Spanish speaker. I'll explain that in the next video, and I think the technique will help you with your English. Thanks for listening. I'll speak to you soon.